James was taking too long indoors to come back to you. Reference squeaking bike from hell. Like two. Let's get into this. Welcome to James Social Cycling. Sunday morning, people. So apologies for taking my time coming back with part 2. Part 1, description below, and we had 4. So we had handlebars, forks, seat saddle and the seat post. All right, but let's get into number 5 and then number 6. Just missed some deer. Look, I don't know if we can see them. There you go. Oh. How about that? A bit of nature. Can't beat a bit of nature. So number 5. Number 5 is another one of those contact areas. So the pedals can be a nightmare, people. So the best thing to do with the pedals to start off with is give the contact areas, the springy areas for you clipping in, just a little bit of a spray of something like WD-40 or GT85. GT85 better because it has a I think it's like a Teflon in it, and if the squeaking still persists, you can actually take the body out where all the bearings are, and that comes out in one piece. So clean that all off. How you doing? Right, clean that all off and then reapply some grease into the pedal. That's after you've cleaned it all off. Retighten the pedal up and the grease will disperse itself into all the bearings, and again hopefully you may have eradicated. I haven't done a video on servicing pedals, but if you put in the search engine you'll find some videos to help you on your way with that one. All right, so that's number 5. Now number 6 is a little bit more technical. Let's have a just in time. Look, we've got a bench. Ta-da! The 6th is quite a complex one because there's many areas on this that could be the issues. So we're talking the wheels, the front and back wheels. So firstly, easy stuff, checking the brakes. Make sure the brakes are not rubbing. Obviously you'll be putting in the power if you do, and one of the issues I have with my bike is the wheel stays. So when I first had the bike, I didn't realise sometimes that the wheel stays on the left hand side wasn't sitting in position properly. Now such a little simple, if you look at that simple movement, so that is going to throw the bike out of alignment. It's going to make the brakes rub, and it is such a little tiny area. So make sure that that when you put the wheel in, that it sits in properly. And one of the biggest problems, well, as you can see there, as you can see, I've got Shimano Ultegra quick releases. They cost me 40 quid. I'm not even lying to you. But I had a squeak coming from the back wheel, and it wasn't the wheel. So those when I bought those heavy Mishis, they squeaked so much, and then I ended up throwing them in the shed. And when I got the new wheels to put on, because the Mishis were only just a set for the winter, the new set squeaked as well. So basically you've got those horrible little aluminium quick releases which actually don't do nothing. So what I had to do was, when I is just make sure that when you put this on that you're not rubbing. And I can always tell by looking down here as well that you'll see a little gap, so it doesn't actually worry it too much now, since I've done it so many times and it has been a pain. But you can get squeak in there as well, even with putting that in properly. With a cheap set of Huels, you are going to find that you have to, whether if it's too tight it'll squeak, if it's not tight enough it'll squeak. But since spending stupid amounts of money off of the back of somebody's comment, somebody's recommendation, Shep, I ended up buying these and I haven't had a problem with the squeaking at the back of this, so it worked really well. And last but not least, it takes you back to the either WD-40 or the GT85. Now, as I said, I think it's a Teflon that it has in the GT85, which just adds a little bit more waterproofing and stuff like that. I'm no techie on this, but the last on the wheels, I would also double check the spokes, so make sure that the spokes aren't loose. And also, an issue I did have with another wheel was basically I had a squeak coming from one of the nipples, so I would actually put a touch of GT85 into here on all of the nipples, and ended up doing that with the front and back. All right, so I may have missed something on the wheels. Obviously bearings, you're gonna have to check the bearings on there. The best way to check the bearings, take the wheel off, spin it in your hands, and you will hear or feel the vibration of shitty bearings, all right, or crappy bearings, excuse my French. Okay, there you go, people. So part 2, 5 and 6 done and dusted. Now, I did say that there was a couple of extra bonus ones, and this goes back to the crankset. So again, this is obviously before you go for the bottom bracket. Check the chain. Check the chain. Why check the chain? Because the chain could be squeaking. 1, the chain, and 2, the jockey wheels. Clean the jockey wheels out, and then put some lube into the jockey wheels, because they will squeak. And the other thing is as well is if you use anything that's like a wax based, I use squirt. If I do not follow the instructions 100%, and that is to 1, clean the chain, 2, leave it to dry. Right, no quick fix, because it doesn't work. Leave the chain to dry, and then say for 24 hours, or like I do sometimes in the winter, hang it over the radiator. Then I'll apply the squirt back on. So if you leave the chain wet, what will happen is when you then put the squirt on and the chain's wet, I guarantee you're going to get a little squeak. It's just going to happen. It's happened to me quite a few times when I do a rush job on it. So make sure you follow any sort of wax base, especially squirt. Make sure you follow the instructions. Let the chain dry, then apply the squirt. Make sure you shake the squirt. I actually put a little tip on the squirt, so chain dry on the radiator, and I actually put the squirt on the radiator as well to warm it up. Then it softens all the wax and the another emulsion in there that warms up, and it mixes a lot easier. If you've got any questions on that, obviously down below. And again, I appreciate all your support, by the way, if James doesn't say it, but I do appreciate your support. Channel's not doing too badly, views are a bit shit, but then I expect that because I'm a little bit different and I'm no professional. But anyway, lots of love, people.